kung masira ang reputasyon ko, ang akin lang, ma-preserve yung ating reputasyon. Hindi po maganda yung hindi tayo magkakatiwalaan dito. 24 lang tayo, Mr. President.
Mga senador naglabas ng sama ng loob dahil nailabas sa media ang kanilang pinag-usapan na hindi naman dapat na ilabas. Ayon kay Senador Jenggoy Estrada, nakakasama ng loob ang ginawa kung sinong senador ang may gawa niyan. Dagdag pa ni Senador Bato de la Rosa, 24 lang silang senador pero hindi pa pwede pagkatiwalaan ang isa't isa. Pero ayon naman kay Senador Cheese Escudero, ang nangyari ay hindi leak, kundi isang chismis lang at walang magawa ang isang tabloid. Pero ang gusto ng mga senador ay imbestigahan nila para hindi na ito maulit pa para sa reputasyon ng Senado. Narito ang video, panuorin natin at huwag kalimutan mag-subscribe kung hindi ka pa nakapag-subscribe para palagi ka updated sa mga balita dahil iba na ang may alam.
Mr. President, we discussed lengthily for almost 2 hours the schedule, etc. of the budget of the Republic of the Philippines. We never touched or we never voted with regard to all the intelligence fund or confidential fund. In fact, we agreed unanimously to remove all the confidential and intelligence fund, not only that of the Office of the Vice President, including not only that of the Department of Education, but all security or civilian agencies na merong confidential and intelligence fund. Mr. President, nawala. I will just read. Sino mga pangalan? First on the list, Senator Robin Padilla, Christopher Bongo, Ramon Bong Revilla Jr., Ronald Bato de la Rosa, Jinggoy Estrada, Lito Lapid, Francis Tolentino, and Cynthia Villar. They are putting us in a bad light, and I condemn this. And I take offense on this. Nakalagay pa, Senator Pia Cayetano is said to be supportive of reinstating Duterte's confidential funds if she can justify the need for them. This is not true. And I hope Senator Pia Cayetano will agree with me. Just for a while, Mr. President, hinahanap pa ni Senator Robin yung mga nakasulat. Mahina raw yung wifi.
Ano ba tayo dito? Converge, PLDT, Secretary, DICT. Naku.
Mr. President.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. And if I may quote, Anis Cooper told this media outlet that Senators Sani Angara, Francis Escudero, Rafi Tulfo, Aquilino Pimentel III, and Risa Hontiveros are allegedly against the reinstatement of Duterte's secret allocation, which are lodged under the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. Mali-mali po itong report, Mr. President. And I think Senator Angara must not be included in this list. And among the offices, Duterte's allocation was part of the 1.2 billion in confidential funds that the House realigned to agencies focused on the West Philippine Sea. Mr. President, tumayo po ako rito dahil masamang-masama po ang loob ko. I really felt insulted. And I think my other colleagues here also felt the same way, Mr. President. And Mr. President, I stand before you and I want to make this recommendation, maybe to talk to this media outlet or to summon this media outlet and ask them, who among us violated our rules? Who among us leaked what transpired in our executive session yesterday? That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Jinggoy. Before I recognize the other members, may I just like to put on record, I too am very disappointed. I have been a senator for 4 plus 6, 10 plus 2, 12 years, and a member of Congress for 9 years. And when we say executive session, we are bound by rules of both the House of Representatives and when I was in the House of Representatives and rules of the Senate when I was elected as a senator. Before I recognize the majority floor leader on the repercussions of violating that rules, I would just like to put on record as well that we had a healthy discussion. There was no voting that took place. There was a healthy discussion on how we will treat this budget, particularly on the confidential and intelligence funds. It's not fair to say that one group was for this and one group was for that because in the end, tama po sinabi ni Senator Estrada, we were unanimous in the committee report that the good gentleman from Aurora will be presenting today. We are in full support of his committee report. Now, I am very alarmed. As a matter of fact, that's why we were late. I usually try to start at 3 p.m. We had a meeting with the leadership, Senator Joel Villanueva and Senator Lauren Legarda. We met because of the implications of leakages during executive session. The executive department and very sensitive agencies of government may no longer divulge information to the executive session if they know somebody might leak it. That's why I take this very strongly, and I make sure, and I told the majority floor leader that I even called up Senator Nancy Binay because she is the head of the Ethics Committee, that we have to send a very strong signal that this shall not happen again. So, Majority Floor Leader,
Yes, Mr. President. Before I give my statement, Mr. President, which I actually agree with your manifestation and the statements made by our dear colleague Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Senator Chis Escudero is seeking the floor to clarify something, Mr. President.
yes, Senator
May I-
Escudero is recognized.
may
Thank
he
you,
be
Mr.
recognized?
President. Mr. President, I agree 100% with what Senator Jinggoy Estrada said, that the account is not accurate and that is not what transpired in executive session. I hope, Senator Jinggoy, you and I will not be sanctioned for saying part of what happened, as you said. It was the unanimous consensus of the members of the Senate in executive session. So this is not the facts contained in the article, Mr. President, Your Honor, is not a leak. Chismis yun. So there is no leak to speak of really with respect to what truly transpired in the executive session. An attempt perhaps to create a story about it, but I confirm the statement of the good Senate President and the Senator Jinggoy that it was the unanimous position of the House, what Senator Angara will be sponsoring today and the other vice chairpersons. That was the unanimous position of the Senate and all the members of the Senate.
Mr. President, Senator Jinggoy is seeking the floor. Move that he
Yes,
be
Senator
recognized.
Estrada.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to associate myself with the comments made by the Majority Leader. Kahit chismis yan or gossip yan, walang problema sa akin yan. Ang problema, bakit o paano lumabas sa isang media outlet yung mga nag-transpire sa ating usapin kahapon.
Yes.
That is, for me, that is the most important thing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Senator, the Minority Floor Leader.
Senator Bato de la Rosa is seeking the floor.
Maybe we can
Mr.
give the
President.
Minority Floor Leader first if you don't mind, Senator.
Yes,
De La
Mr.
Rosa.
President. The Minority Leader, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Mr. President. Ako nga, ngayon ko lang po nabasa, disappointed nga ako sa report eh. Kasi, ang sabi doon na against ako sa restoration ng CF ng Office of the Vice President.
Tama yun, pero kulang. Kasi kahapon ako sinasabi ko, tanggalin din ang intelligence fund ng Office of the President. So kulang yung report, ipakidagdag sa report. Kasi the Office of the President is a civilian office.
not an armed agency, and not a uniformed agency. So kulang po, pakidagdag na lang.
You are not violating the rules because you're divulging your own position. Yes. So, yes, Senator Bato de la Rosa is recognized.
Mr. President, it is very unfortunate that this kind of incident happened within our midst. Number one, Mr. President, it creates distrust from among us 24 senators. Ibig sabihin, the next time around that we are going to have our caucus or executive session, hindi na ako basta-basta magsasalita. Baka mamaya, meron na naman maglilik sa media. So pangit po, 24 lang tayo dito na senador at hindi pa natin mapagkatiwalaan ang isa't isa natin, Mr. President. Number two, it tarnished the image of the Senate. 24 lang tayong hinalal ng buong Pilipinas at hindi pa natin mapagkatiwalaan ang isa sa atin na pwedeng nag-leak. If indeed, it was leaked by any member of the Senate. Kung ang nag-leak naman noon ay empleyado na nandoon sa loob, well, as a police officer, former police officer, Mr. President, I can vividly recall kung sinong nandoon sa loob. 2 staff ni Senator Angara. Si Mavic,
Oh, Attorney Mavic.
Attorney Mavic. At may isang kasama si Attorney Mavic na babae. So 4 silang nalaman ko na nandoon sa loob. Magprangkahan tayo dito. Dapat we have to made into account yung tao na responsable dito. Hindi lang na magsisente ng stern warning sa kanila, kundi the damage has been done. Lumabas na yung balita niya, nasira na kung sinong dapat masira, but I don't care kung masira ang reputasyon ko. Ang sa akin lang, ma-preserve yung ating reputasyon.
The waiter staff, huwag mo kalimutan yung mga staff sa likod. Yung mga waiter din, yung nandun din sila.
Isama natin sa investigasyon
Isama
ng
natin
Mr.
sila.
President.
So what if the chamber wishes, I can ask Senator Nancy Binay, who is the chairperson of the Committee on Ethics, to look into this closely, if it is all right with the body.
Yes, I support, Mr. President, I support the call of Senator Jingo Estrada that yung source nitong news na ito, if it is a politiscope, he has to be called before a hearing para malaman natin kung sinong source niya. At kung hindi siya magsabi ng totoo, I will be the first one to move for the citing in contempt of that media personnel, Mr. President. Ikulong natin yan kung ayaw magsabi ng totoo. Mr. President, this is not a laughing matter. This is serious. Filipino people are watching us right now. Sabihin nila, ganyan na pala Senado ngayon, hindi pa pagkatiwalaan. Sila lang nag-uusap, maglilik pa doon sa media. It's very dangerous, Mr. President. Very dangerous. Masyadong akong dismayado. Thank you, Mr. President.
We agree with the gentleman from Davao, and that's why after these proceedings, I will ask Senator Nancy Binay, Chair of the Committee on Ethics, to investigate the matter.
Yes, Mr. President.
After Senator, yes.
Mr. President.
May I move that the Senate Committee on Ethics conduct a hearing and invite the source of the news, Mr. President, so that everything will be cleared out.